was no Giannis meant that they were going to be dead in the water, that Milwaukee was going to struggle, and that Coach Budenholzer wasn't going to be able to make adjustments. That didn't turn out to be the case. God, I love saying I was right.
I feel like you're exaggerating this. Also,
well, of course, it's radio. That's what we do.
Of course.
And TV.
The conversation wasn't that they couldn't make adjustments.
Wait, hold on. Monica McNutt, Jason Fitz, Keyshawn
sorry.
Johnson. Go ahead.
Also, I would like to bring, at some point in the show today, I'd like to have a conversation about the use of the word thirsty. But we'll get to that later.
Just drink more water.
It's a little tease. Shut up, Vince. That's not what I mean, and you know it. Anyway, I don't think the conversation was that the Bucks wouldn't be able to make adjustments. I mean, Tim Legler made a great point yesterday on our show that the default adjustment that the Bucks go with when they're in the clutch moments is just give Giannis the ball, and that's not always the case. They were home. It's time for Chris Middleton, Drew Holiday to step up. They did that. Holiday in particular. Then Lopez goes off. Yesterday, you got what you expected to get, but all I'm saying, again, it wasn't like that they put the Hawks away without question. The Hawks were still
I
there.
didn't get what I expected to get.
From who?
From Milwaukee. I didn't expect to get that. I expected for them to be stressed out about what happened in Game 4. I expected that. Although I knew that they would be at home and Chris Middleton potentially would play better because he's done well at home opposed to being on the road. I didn't know that Brook Lopez would all of a sudden decide to play in the paint and give me 30. No, and I don't think most people thought
you
that.
expected them to win, though.
Okay.
You didn't expect them to win?
I mean, I got the receipts in the group text last night. Somebody said Hawks win.
I expected for them to struggle mentally and panic, and that's what I expected based off coming out of Game 4. And I also expected Trae Young to play, although Dr. Johnson was wrong.
Where you get your medical license from?
It's an online school.
Online school.
It's in the Bahamas.
Visually looking at him, he looked like he might be able to play because he wasn't walking around hobbling. So that's why I thought that. But the other guys stepped up. Drew Holiday had a game,
25 and 13,
something that we hadn't seen. So they all came to the party.
Give me more of that.
Okay, but here's the thing. And Monica, you know, like the first time we ever worked together.
Yes.
I hit you up afterwards and said, you are awesome. And every time we've ever worked together, I tell you afterwards, you are just a rock star. Like, you are just absolutely blowing up at this company, rightfully so, because you are great at what you do.
Don't look at me like that.
But you have lost your mind with revisionist history. Yesterday it was, you know what, Budenholzer can't adjust. Like, that was said yesterday. And what did they do? They went big. They adjusted.
They had no choice because they didn't have Giannis.
Why is it that we went into Game 4 and we turned around in Game... Yes?
Don't scream.
No, hold on
this show.
All right.
This is not...
We got to be California energy.
Normal sports talk radio from 1985. We have conversations.
You know what? We're having a heated conversation.
Okay, hold on.
That's all. Heated
what did
conversation.
I say yesterday?
This is how my family communicated growing up. I don't know about you.
No, please tell me what I said yesterday.
Okay, so yesterday the comment was made that a couple of things. One, that the Hawks made great adjustments in Game 4, which is true. That the Bucks came out flat, which is true, and that Budenholzer doesn't make great adjustments. That's part of his reputation. So what did we see last night? We saw the Bucks go big, right? We saw the Bucks absolutely change what they were doing in that sense. We saw the Bucks with all of their role players delivered. Now, why is it that yesterday when we were talking about the Hawks, we were throwing a damn parade for it like it was some epic thing that they figured out life without their star, and we won't do the same thing for the Bucks today?
How did they go big? What did they go big at?
Thank you, Key. Help me.
I'm trying to understand. I'm like, how did they go big? All
because they put Brook in the paint.
But Giannis put Giannis in the paint too. But Giannis didn't want to go in the paint in Game 4. He started shooting air balls.
Hey, excuse me, Key. We don't yell on this show. Please bring it down.
Yeah. Oh, am I yelling?
So
we don't yell on this show. So what I would say is they didn't going big is when you got 3 Brook Lopez's on the floor and they only had 1. That's not going big. That's a replacement for what Giannis was able to do.
Exactly.
But the argument is going to be that Giannis wasn't going into the paint being aggressive because.
So that's not an adjustment.
So that if that's on Giannis, then why is Bud a bad coach? Because every time
I never say Bud is a bad coach. I just say what everybody else says, which is he needs to make adjustments at times, which he seems to not do.
I don't understand why this is hard for you to grasp. Nobody. When we look at these two teams, right, going into this season, one of them should be in the conversation around the finals. The other is ahead of schedule. And so, yes, the expectations for the Bucks are higher. Yesterday, to me, was not about adjustments. Yesterday was Giannis isn't available. Brook Lopez go play basketball.
Which we threw a parade for when Atlanta did the same thing.
Because the Hawks are ahead of schedule and their star was out. There is no reason that the Bucks should have lost Game 4.
We have sat here for the last month and apologized for why the Lakers were eliminated. We apologized for why the Clippers were eliminated. We apologized for why the Nets were eliminated. And those are all teams that have tremendous talent and battled injuries. What we saw last night was Milwaukee, a team in that same spectrum, battle injuries and win, and we don't give them any credit. We gave so much credit every time Brooklyn won a game shorthanded. We gave so much credit every time the Clips won a game shorthanded.
We are giving
no, you're not. Y'all are coming in and saying like, oh, we got to see more.
We're giving Milwaukee the credit for winning at home and giving Brook Lopez the credit for doing something Giannis seems to refuse to do, which is play down low.
Sometimes he'll do it, Key.
Sometimes. That's
also, of your examples, I think, again, you got to look at the two teams and the expectations. The Lakers, the Lakers and Phoenix. Phoenix is going to the finals. That's a very good team. They were injured. If the injuries played out differently, it probably goes down different. Exactly. But if you look at it, that I can see injuries clearly. The Hawks also were injured in Game 4. Like, they did not have their star. And if the Bucks are supposed to be a team contending in the finals, I'm not sure why this is hard to grasp. But
it's only hard. It's not that it's...
It fits. In Game 4, Monica mentioned Hawks not having the star. Trae Young sideline. Guess what?
You supposed to take
They had their star in Giannis.
Yeah, and
they had him for 3.5 quarters.
Raggedy.
You're 1,000% right, and I think it's absolutely 1,000% credit to look at the Bucks and say, "Hey, you blew it in Game 4." And there's a real conversation we need to have about whether they'll regret that if Trae Young comes back in this series. I just think that we are quick to downplay everything Milwaukee does as meh, even when they turn around and make adjustments and do win games. That frankly, yesterday, most people, not just on this show, most people were giving the Hawks all the credit yesterday and the favor yesterday. The Bucks went out and did what most people didn't want to give them the ability to do.
Here's what I would say about that, though, Fitz. The Hawks were not built to win a championship this year. The Hawks fired their damn coach, man.
That's the part.
They were not built to win a championship.
I understand that.
Drew Holiday arrived.
But yesterday you guys told me that Drew Holiday and Chris Middleton were just guys.
Hold on one sec.
I need to run the tape back, didn't we?
Big money for both of those players. The Hawks don't have that on their team. Mm-hmm. Even though we lose Giannis, I still got $300 million. Hold on.
You said that.
I know, and you guys trashed me for it yesterday. You guys disputed me yesterday when I said that.
I got to train him some more.
Oh, no, you ain't training me. You ain't training me.
Because, yes, you mentioned them getting paid a lot of money. So the anticipation for them being paid a lot of money for everybody, I'm going to speak for everybody else, is we're paying you a bunch of money, whether you're an all-star or not. When your main guy goes down, you need to step up. They were not stepping up. They did not step up in Game 4. What did we go to sleep saying after Game 4? Oh, the other players didn't step up. What did we come into Game 5 thinking? Since Game 4 they didn't step up, they probably won't step up in Game 5. But they did. Hats off to them. Can they repeat it going back to Atlanta to finish the deal in Game 6?
The Bucks are looking to get their role players to help get in the zone once again in Game 6. Get in the zone brought to you by AutoZone. Get in the zone, AutoZone. All I'm saying is that yesterday when I said on this show, if they can't win this game without Trae Young, if they can't beat them with this $300+ million worth of contracts, then what's the point? It's a fail for Milwaukee. Y'all came back at the time and said the thing is those two players aren't that guy. They're just paid because that's the way the market went.
I certainly said
last
that
night those players
showed me that.
But they did last night. So why don't we give them the credit?
They did, and I'm giving them the credit today.
I'm struggling.
I won't give them a credit if they don't do it in Game 6.
And I kind of hear what we're parsing here, and I guess I'm struggling to give them credit because Trae Young wasn't playing. Like the Bucks to me are
even if Trae Young was playing. I'm expecting for guys that I paid a lot of money to, that I value, that I think could potentially be good at it, step up, something that they've never done before. It's very difficult. It's very difficult, Jason. That's when I get
first name.
Yeah, that's when I really get. Yeah. No, Fitzy, though. it's very difficult. And I had the same conversation with Jay Will several days ago because he was trying to give me an example. When guys are missing, like Harden or Kyrie, Kevin Durant's done it before. Or AD, LeBron's done it before. So Dame Lillard's done it before. But Chris Middleton and Drew have never done it. So until you see them do it, you're going to always have reserve. You're going to always be like, well, they ain't never really.
And
Giannis.
To be fair, asterisk, I'm still like, okay, they did it. Can they do it if the Hawks are at full strength?
Game 6, Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern on ESPN Radio. The weekend preview brought to you by the Bank of America. Customized cash rewards. Credit card. Earn 3% cash back on online shopping. Copyright 2021 Bank of America Corporation. If there's one thing I know, when Keyshawn ranks anything in the NFL, it gets problematic for everybody on Twitter. This is about to get fired up because there are 3 NFL quarterbacks that have one thing in common, and he's going to rank them after this.
Monica, you have a read?
Oh, somebody? After that. Wait. He's going to rank them.
I was like, no, I don't either.
So there's one thing I know. When Keyshawn ranks things, people get fired up about it. And he's going to rank 3 NFL quarterbacks that have one thing in common. Do we know what we're talking about here, guys? Anybody?
I don't have a read.
Plans, Keyshawn?
Not really. My son got a little AAU, so we got to figure out what we're going to do with that in terms of plans. But, no, I usually been in the past in California. So it was always go over somebody's house, wait for the sun to go down a little bit, and start to do some stuff around 4 o'clock. I don't know what's going on in New York yet, so we'll see.
I know he's not bringing a bag of ice. That's what we learned yesterday.
We're bringing bags of ice to your house. You open up the grill on a rooftop. Like, what do you mean you don't know what's going on?
I mean, you can come on over
it's
to.
It's supposed to rain. Like what? Like seriously?
Come on over to Coney Island, shameless self-promotion. Check out the ESPN hot dog eating contest. I'm sideline reporting that thing. Let's go. 4th of July hot dog eating contest.
How many hot dogs do you think you could eat? That contest is like the grossest, most fascinating roadkill-esque thing.
I'm telling you, last year I did it, and we were indoors, and I wasn't prepared for the sound. There's this weird, like, sound that, it'll get you. It'll get you. And the splash zone is real. And that's just where, a lot of wet bun just splashing everywhere. There you go.
That's disgusting.
I thought I couldn't get
Is this the
Nathan's hot dog eating contest? There we go. On ESPN. You should check it out.
What's the guy who used to do it back in the day and win all the time?
Well, Joey Chestnut's the guy that wins right now. Morimoto. Oh no, I'm going to the chef. I'll come with the name in a second. It's early in the morning.
So he's not. That guy isn't doing it right now.
No, Joey Chestnut's the reigning everything for all of it. So there we go. We'll have a little hot dog. Monica, you don't look impressed by this. What are you doing for the 4th?
I'm actually going home. One of my good friends is having a cookout, and then I'm getting on a train to come back up here for next week.
So it's called a cookout, not a barbecue.
My folks, we say cookout. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's an important difference. There's an important difference.
I don't think there's a difference. There's just a regional word preference. What do you call it?
I think it's a regional deal.
What do you say?
We'd say barbecue.
What do you say?
Well, it depends. If you're actually cooking something that involves barbecue, then it's a barbecue. And if you're cooking like burgers, it's cookout. There are 2 different things.
Oh no.
If you're barbecue is an actual in group.
In the Carolinas and in Texas and all that, right?
Yeah,
barbecue.
in the South, barbecue is barbecue. It's totally different.
Like out west, it's a barbecue for us.
It's a cookout that may include barbecue. But it's a cookout for me.
That's funny because one of you is a cookout, one of you is a barbecue, and
what
depends
consists
on what's
of a cookout? Like what?
If the grill is involved, it's a cookout.
In a grill is gas
or charcoal. A grill and a food outside makes it a cookout.
Because to me, charcoal is barbecue. Cookout is grill.
And that's what I'm saying. For me, my region.
See, and then Yates in my ear talking about, nah, we had this conversation last year around the same thing.
It's definitely a West Coast thing.
It must be a West Coast thing.
Well, and I will say, when I grew up as a kid, I grew up in Vegas as a kid, and I think it was always called a barbecue when I was a kid.
I'm telling you.
But were y'all making barbecue?
Right.
Yes.
That's
so
no.
Pulled pork, like beef brisket, like that kind of barbecue, or just barbecue sauce on some chicken on the charcoal grill?
Do I look like the type of dude that would break out a package and just throw it on the grill?
Hold on. I'm not. That did not mean that to be disrespectful.
No, but you do look like the type of dude that would pay somebody to break out and put it on the grill.
We are legitimately working through this.
No, man, I get down. I sit there and prep.
You missed this.
No, 100%.
Oh, okay.
I get down every single
Which
night.
is why it is an absolute travesty that we're not bringing ice so that he can get down on the rooftop on his barbecue.
All right. Well, I'll be at Coney Island, so just shoot me the address, and I'll just swing on by after I watch a bunch of people gorge on hot dogs.
We'll figure out over time the difference between a barbecue
No,
and
we just figured
The
it out.
food. It's the
grill.
food that's being cooked.
No,
No,
we'll
it's
figure it
not.
out.
It's a regional word
Oh, my
I
preference.
think it's a regional word preference.
Yeah.
And how you cook the food. How did the Bucks cook what they needed to
Oh,
cook?
look at you.
That-
Keyshawn, J. Will, and Zubin, presented by Progressive Insurance. All of our guests join us on the Goodyear Hotline. We're going to get into a lot this morning with name, image, likeness. Keyshawn's got some hot football takes, but we start with some Straight Talk brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless that comes from what we saw last night. Now, yesterday as we left air, one of us smartly predicted that
Wait
the
a
Bucks
minute
would
now.
win the game, and feeling
Way to go out on a limb.
I mean,
Big
one of us was
scary.
right, two of us were not. So I'm going to gloat a little bit. The
Hold on,
question
I
is,
don't remember this, but go ahead.
I mean, we asked yesterday, like, who's going to win the game.
We said game or series.
Game, I think it
a
was.
bit of both. We did a bit of
All
both.
right,
It's a 4-hour show, Monica. I don't remember all of it.
Listen, the Bucks cannot win this series if Giannis doesn't come back. That's
Well,
what I'm
that
putting it.
is absolutely not true. But I will say this: it gets a lot easier if they get Trae Young back. We all know that. That's something Stephen A. Smith, First Take host, said on SportsCenter at night last night.
You got to hope and pray that Trae Young's going to come back because he's a difference maker. His long-range sniper ability, his cat quickness, his ability to get into the lane, and more importantly, to draw fouls and to put your bigs in compromising situations defensively. That's something that we can't simply minimize. You're going to need Trae Young back. Hopefully, he'll be able to come back.
Your plan can't be, we just got to get Trae Young back. That's something that's a variable. My question is, when we saw the Bucks go in last night with a level of fire and a level of tenacity that we had expected in the game before, we saw the Bucks come in and really attack the paint. They were absolutely treacherous in that area. And then we saw Holiday and Middleton have big games. Yesterday, as we were talking about the Bucks and the failings without Giannis, there were a lot of questions about Coach Bud's ability to adjust and Holiday and Middleton's ability to step up. Did y'all change your mind last night?
I wouldn't
No.
necessarily say change my mind. I looked at game 4, much like probably the Bucks did, and they made the necessary adjustment in saying to themselves, we started off shooting threes, and Giannis didn't pound the paint like we did before. Let's go back to what we can know we have our strength, and our strength is making sure Brook Lopez goes down low and pound the paint instead of shooting threes. He had 33 points. He was 14 of 16 from the field. When you look at that and you do that, that's how you win games. When you're out there shooting threes, when you're 8 feet tall, that's not how you win games. I understand that's the modern day way to go in the NBA, but when you have a dominant player inside the paint, you take advantage of that situation, and they didn't do it in game 4. That's why Atlanta was able to even it, and once they got home, they made that adjustment on a 48-hour period. They did. You have to give your credit due to the coaching staff of the Milwaukee Bucks and say whatever the game plan was in 4, they didn't do in 5. I mean, they did in 5 that they didn't do in 4. That's simple.
Were you a You're not a participation trophy guy. You know the saying when you're folks, I don't know about y'all, but my folks, I'm not applauding you for what you're supposed to do. That's where I'm at with this. Because to me, focus would have been taking care of business in game 4. Yesterday, they're at home. Drew Holiday is 25 and 13. And also, I do think we need to pump our brakes a little bit on bashing Lopez because a stretch 5 is a thing in this league. But anyway, he was very efficient in the paint. But to me, this is why this Buck squad was put together. Now, minus Giannis, you're seeing the same infusion and galvanizing around their missing guy. Plus, they were at home. This entire game, for as well as they played, the Hawks were never completely out of it once they closed that first quarter gap.
I mean, but this is a game where they came out to a 20-point lead. It did get down to single digits in the second half, but they withstood that punch, and then they turned around and still won by a comfortable margin. I mean, at what point do we look at that and say, hey, like, because yesterday it was, well, Gallinari can shoot, and they may not have an answer for that. Well, he still got his, and the Bucks had an answer for that.
And say, hey, what? You did what you're supposed to do?
You did.
I mean, but that's a lose-lose situation.
It's not a well. That's what happens when you're supposed to be one of 5 teams that was legit supposed to contend for a title this year. I'm having a hard time giving this Bucks team unreasonable amounts of praise because the standard is high, and maybe that's unfair. But tough cookies. I'm sorry. Yesterday to me, Drew Holiday played excellent. Lopez played excellent, but this is a squad that if we were to look at on paper, I don't think anybody would say they are not as talented as the Atlanta Hawks. The reason that I'm in on the Atlanta Hawks is what their body of work over the course of this playoff run in terms of how they responded.
The way that they continue to excel. When you look at
but it
the
should
30
be the Bucks.
points, think about it. The 30 points that was essentially taken away from them when Giannis was gone, Brook Lopez gave it to him.
Yeah, well,
Brook Lopez gave it to him.
Okay, so I love trash TV, and there's a show called Summer House that's on.
I know that show.
I love Summer House, and there's a girl on that.
I don't watch it, but I know
the
it.
entire time she's like, "I need you to be more loving to her boyfriend. I need you to be more loving. I need you to show me more." So he sets up this massive date, and he goes all out, and he puts like candles all over the lawn to spell "I love you," and he makes her dinner, and he does all of this for her birthday, and she turns around and she says, I'm not going to give you credit for doing what you're supposed to do. It's a lose-lose situation. I'm going to give the Bucks credit for what they did last night. That's some straight talk wireless, no contracts, no compromise. We're going to keep arguing about the Bucks and how much
we don't
what the
argue
standard
on this
is.
show, if you notice. There's no arguments on the show. It's conversation.
I'm going to keep
having a conversation,
passionately debating, passionately
we don't debate.
disagreeing.
We don't debate. We have a conversation.
Hey,
I'm going to do whatever the heck I want because I'm the quarterback.
Hey, listen, I'm just not going to give you credit for what you're supposed to do.
Oh, my God.
That's all.
I don't. Straight talk wireless, no contract, no compromise. Good Lord. We'll get back to it in a bit, but one team was fined $10 million yesterday. Some are saying it wasn't enough. We'll tell you about it next. But Key first has this from right?